Sonic Talk.
Hello everybody, welcome to Sonic Talk episode 748, recording today, Wednesday what is it? It's the 1st of March. Oh no, is it? Yes, 1st of March. Is that the I's or the I's the other end? I can never remember. Anyway, infamy, they've all got it infamy in the immortal words of Kenneth William. Beware of the Ides of March. Yes, well, it seems that way. Welcome, everybody. This is the Sonic Talk podcast. We talk about everything to do with music technology. And there is actually quite a lot to talk about this week. In fact, there was so much, I forgot one of the major topics to send to our guests, which I will have to spring on them live, which will be an interesting exercise. For those of you who are watching, thanks for joining us on IRC, on Twitch, and YouTube live streaming. In fact, what's really cool at the moment, we haven't had the comments working for a little while. We've got them back up. I want to say big thanks to Wagyu for sorting that out. The code was actually written by Mr. Dom Hawkin, who, as we know, recently passed, and it's great to see it being brought back to life and a testament to his brilliant work. So he can continue to be involved forever, which I think is kind of quite beautiful in many ways. So not to dwell on it too much, but it's great that we're all back together. All of the communities can talk to each other via the chats and everything. So hopefully everything is good. So if you've got any questions for the panel, we may get round to some this week, but there's actually quite a lot of stuff to talk about, so maybe not. Before I go there, I want to tell you a little bit about what's been going on. We've just got the third wave from Groove Synthesis in for review. I posted a little video on Patreon. So if you want to check it out, please do join us on Patreon. In fact, I'll play the ad because that's what I have to do, really. My boss tells me that I must do these things, so I'm going to. Have you considered joining us on Patreon? It's a really mere $5.50 a month, which is what? A nice cup of coffee, and for that you'll get exclusive videos. In fact, we've got some chat of me and Gaz talking about a set of speakers that we've had in for a listen, not for review, but they're 10 grand. Astonishing they sound. If you want to find out more, check out Patreon. It'll be up in the next few days or so. You also get Sonic Talk ad-free, as well as pre-show stuff in there. You get exclusive videos, you get occasional sample sets and downloads, and there's a whole bunch of other benefits besides. If you get in quick at the upper level, you'll be able to see your name in the end credits of this very show. Once again, we thank you very much for your support, and we'll speak to you soon. Yeah, so you could tell how old that is because there has been some other stuff since then. Not only have I've had the third wave in, which I posted sort of sounds flip and a kind of questions, because obviously it's a massive synthesizer and I'm not going to get time to review it very quickly. So if you have any areas you want me to explore, I will try to. I've also posted the Korg drum log review, which was this week. There's also, what else was there? Oh yeah, the SH-4D. I nearly forgot about that as well. But anyway, let's get on to our guests because I'm sure they're gagging to get going. So we'll start off with Paulee Bow there, who is from... Never gets tired. If you check that out. It's, bizarrely, Magical Synth Adventure 3216. I'm not sure why it's got those numbers on the end, but you can find them on YouTube. No idea. In fact, you did a really great... part 2 of your favourite reverbs, so your video stuff's great. So how have you been?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Been quite busy getting the next episode ready, which will all be about really early 1980s software synths. Because there were some really interesting ones. No, they're actually... they've got like 4 voice poly and variable waveforms and filtering and PWM and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite interesting to hear those early 80s software synths. And the other thing is, I've got a live date booked in, my only one so far this year. I know. So it's gonna be, surprise, surprise, as part of an Amiga event, which is happening in July the 1st. It's a big expo, and afterwards there's gonna be what's called the recap party. So there's gonna be 4 different people. I'm doing my kind of live set stuff. There's going to be a couple of DJs who use old computers to DJ on, which is very interesting. And also a guy who uses like Game Boys to make music. So if you want to find out the details, if you go to www.amigashow.com/recap, and even if you don't like old computers, if you just want to come and see me live in July, then then please do that. And it's just going to be a bit of fun, I think. Just a nice way to dip my toe back into live music after,
Nice.
after having a baby and being completely frazzled.
Okay, the chat room are challenging you on any software synthesizers pre-1990. So have you got any names for 80s ones?
Yeah, Aegis Sonics. So Aegis. Aegis. Okay. And then Sonics, Sonix. That's one.
Right, okay.
And it's 4-voice poly, as I said. It's got filtering and everything, so there we go.
Right, okay. Well, that's
Don't
that's
challenge
what we call
me,
in the
chat.
trade.
Don't challenge
me. A teaser.
You know better.
Well, hopefully we can. If now you perform there, we can persuade you to come to the next EMOM, because our current EMOM, which is obviously next Saturday, EMOM 2 is live. I have actually. Let's do it. Why not? I'll plug it again just because I can. We're going to be live streaming it, but if you can make it, do come along. Where there are still tickets left, but there will be going fast in this last week, we think, and we do have limits. And no, I'm not just saying that because we haven't sold any tickets. We actually have sold quite a lot of tickets, so that's all good. So, all right, and our next guest, of course, Mr. Gaswaldo Williamson. I don't know why I said that. It just felt appropriate somehow. How are you guys? Oh, nice.
Hello.
Wow, ready. I didn't know you were so ready, Gas.
I've never been more ready, I swear. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you're playing next Saturday. I'm really looking forward to that as the Bad Work. Or was it Bad Workman or the Bad Workman?
Bad Workman.
Bad Workman.
Bad Workman. Yeah. I've just done 2 so far now as Bad Workman. They're on my YouTube channel, so please check them out because it's a sort of journey I'm trying to chronicle with my little Adventures in Eurorack series. So now actually getting a few more gigs under my belt, and I've got a real I love it. That last one that I played at the Bristol event, the We All Play Synths event, and that's a really great EMOM event that happens in Bristol now. Not quite sure what the regularity of it is, but it is an ongoing thing. At a new venue called Dare Shack, and that place is super cool. It's got a really sophisticated DB PA system. So I can't remember if there's 8 points or something, but you can do full 3D audio in there. They don't do that for the We All Play Synth event yet. Hopefully they will in the future. But what was quite interesting there was, though, it meant that anywhere you were in the venue, you had exactly the same sound because it was coming at you from all around. So quite interesting for these kind of synth-based events. I think Dare Shack is a new venue for the We All Play Synths and worked beautifully. So I recommend keeping an eye on that but please, anyone who's interested, check out my progress because I'm going to try and film every gig or most gigs that I can do.
We'll be filming this one, don't worry.
Yes.
It'll be fully documented.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm feeling good about it. I've been practicing quite a lot, and
I'm having PA inadequacy now because we've only got a pair of Mackie SRM Mark IIs or whatever they are, which sound really good, but then they're just stereo source. That's one thing. I mean, what I'm
great engineer. As well.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we will, if we can continue to do these and maybe pick up some of the sponsorship, we might be able to invest in a better PA. That means that we can bring it into various systems and do. That's what I'd like to be able to do. But at the moment, where we are is really peachy just because of access and space backstage. It's really perfect for the way that we want to operate. So and also on a Saturday night, getting because the Bristol ones are generally in the weekday, which is easy if you've got a load of people from the same city who can come. But when we're bringing people from all over the place, it's quite hard for them to get there in a weekday. So there's all sorts of logistical reasons why we're doing that.
I mean, what was cool at that event was it was really well attended. And the Froome event that you came to, the Breeze Block meets, that was kind of well attended as well, given the small venue. But so it's quite exciting, and they're not necessarily just synth people coming as well. In both of those ones that I've played at, it's just sort of people who are interested in music. So exciting times.
That's what I've been trying to do. That's why our posters are always kind of, that's why it says live electronic music at the top in big letters, so that when I put the posters up on bus stops and wherever as I can put them, that, you know, that's the thing that grabs you, hopefully, you know, oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah. But great. Anyway, well, lovely to have you folks. I'm just trying to think where should we start with the SH-4D? Should we just get that out of the way? Because then we don't have to kind of... might as well. Right, I'm going to have to just I need to navigate that because it got slotted in at the last minute, so I need to press a button, which will be that one, and then I think it's this one. Yes, that's it. So this is Andy from a pin block from Roland, who came down and gave us a presentation on the SH-4D, which is Roland's new... I mean, I think they can call it a groove box. For some reason, they're not calling it a groove box, but I guess that's probably because they're trying not to take anything away from the groove boxes they sell as groove box. SH-4D, 4-part synth with 60 voices plus a rhythm part. Actually quite tidy. Weirdly, not Zencore. Although it's Zencore at its heart, it's not Zencore compatible, so it doesn't compete with, doesn't work in the Zencore world, so, which seems like quite an oversight, if I'm honest. But all that good USB connectivity, or, you know, where all the parts come out individually, so you can access it. It's got, I think it's 10 outputs, so you've got mix plus the 5 parts, so 12 that would be. So all of the good things, and it sounded okay. I mean, it didn't sort of blow me away in the room, but response has been amazing to it. I mean, I think it's about £549 UK pounds. Not sure where it is. So yeah, it's an interesting. It's a sort of Zencore. It's all digital but not full Zencore. I'm going to come to you first, Paulie, because you were, you know, you did the 5 minutes with the SH, the MC101, which
is Zencore.
You know, you are obviously Zencore. Yeah. What do you think?
And that. That synth, although great, hits a price point very portable. It's not particularly easy to use, even for me, the UI masochist that I am, because I program DX7s and things like that. You have to get quite a lot of muscle memory to do that partial tone editing. It's kind of like editing a D50 from the 80s. So for them to put those sounds, and I really do rate the Zencore engine for variety. You know, you've got things like sync and VA waves and PCM waves and stuff like that. Ring mod, I love ring mod. I think it's great that they've put that in a package that is a bit more accessible, and they've tarted it up with a couple of sexy features like wavetables and whatever that thing was where there were bouncing balls on the screen. That's going to sell a load of them on its own, isn't it?
What we didn't demonstrate, doesn't have a D beam, it has D motion. You press D motion and you pick it up and move it around.
Nice.
I mean, why would you ever do that with leads hanging out of it? But that is also a thing. I mean, it just seems curious addition.
I think, you know, it's a bit quirky, isn't it? And people like quirky, and people that might buy this in addition to either the 101 or the 707, because it's accessible. You know, a lot of people pay top dollar for accessible synths, even if the engine is quite similar. But yeah, that said, I thought it was a good price point. It has a great number of features, decent polyphony, so you can do a whole track on it. I think it's, you know, like sometimes chefs cook a meal, and instead of being a weird meal on MasterChef or something, they do something that's a crowd pleaser. I think this is Roland's crowd pleaser, just something that's palatable for lots of people who want to dip their toes in Roland's digital waters.
I'm going to use that. Dip your toe in digital waters. That's going to be in for the show title. While Gaz writes his gives us his opinion on this.
Well, I think Paulie's absolutely spot on there. This, I think, what's the price point? What's about 500 and something pounds?
549.
Yeah.
549. 60 note polyphony. What's really interesting, I think, is that you can see it as an evolution of something that arguably the Monotron started, and it's well, in recent times, and what I mean by that is, Monotron to Volkers, or Volkers to Volkers inspired that small format. Then Roland came back with a boutique, and then the various boutiques as have grown. And then this isn't a boutique; it's a different form factor. We've not seen it before. And I'm curious to see if this form
metal case. I'd like to add.
Metal case, it runs on batteries. It doesn't have a sort of a useless speaker. I like speakers on devices, but they've got to be good.
Volker mix.
Oh God, Nick! Honestly, my goodness, I mean, unbelievable. But a very, very capable synth. And I think it's good they're not using the term groovebox. I've railed against the term groovebox in many ways because I think it's...
Were you there on the picket line?
I have. And I've been pushing concepts of just infinity boxes because I like the idea that things can... are not constrained to sort of making dance music. Groovebox suggests that it comes from that, when dance music was so dominant and DJ culture, et cetera, just feels like it's a bit of a dated term. And I think that this is so much more capable of, so many things. I mean, if it was your sole synthesizer, imagine that. You could go a lot of places with it. My hunch is that it will become Zencore along the way with some sort of, I think maybe they might not be doing that at first, but after a while they'll kind of go, okay, it is Zencore.
But they've got to be really careful because they're going to end up in the situation you do with the DAW, which is kind of like, okay, we have to add all these features, and then suddenly it becomes really cumbersome because they go back and reintroduce the ability to control this new custom filter that's been built for this, and maybe a different memory architecture that's been built for this, and then Zencore starts to become bloated because it's supporting all these little kind of satellite things that aren't at its, at the core of the Zencore. So they have to be careful.
I think it just kind of maybe makes it a bit cleaner for marketing. Just when you launch it, it's just this is what it is. It's a little standalone music making device. Yes, you can run it on batteries. Yes, there's actually a load of quality drum sounds in there. Very capable. Yes. I mean, but it still is kind of just a 64-step sequence. So there isn't really a lot you can do with it, compared to what we've been seeing with some other sequences.
And no samples.
No samples. Well, certainly not yet. I'd imagine that. Look, there's 11 engines in there, isn't there? And this whole kind of thing is something that we've seen getting more and more popular. The Micro Freak certainly had it, Native Instruments Platts, this multi-oscillator approach, and also Korg with its, what's that platform called that Korg are using for?
SDK, Log SDK, I think it's called.
Right, there we go. So it kind of creates a product that it's open to expand, isn't it? I'm almost certain that, after a few months of it being out like this, you could do an update and then add a whole bunch more engines. I can see that coming.
Big news, new oscillator type for SH-4D.
There we go. So it just
I mean, it's made for publicity, isn't it? It's made for PR and marketing. I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, well, I don't want to dwell too much on it. I do have to say I can't do too late today because I've got to have to get out of Dodge quite sharpish after the show. But let me quickly play a message from our friends over at iZotope. OZone 10 is the future of mastering. The new version includes Master Assistant, match your master to any reference file or files. Also, the Stabilizer module in Advanced adds clarity with intelligent and adaptive mastering EQ. Also included is the Impact module in Advanced, which enhances the rhythm by controlling microdynamics. Don't forget the code SONIC10 at iZotope.com/Sonictalk to save an additional 10% off any software purchase, not including subscriptions. Yes, and if you head over to iZotope.com/Sonictalk, there's a special landing page which gives you instructions on how to claim your 10%, which very often does, well, in fact, in every instance, as far as I can tell, also applies to any sale items, apart from subscriptions. So, yeah, well worth. That's a nice little tidy bit of discount code. Thanks very much to them for supporting the show. Right, Paulie, you sent me the quip that you had spent a lot of time researching the show, so I'm going to ask you what topic you'd like to see next in order of the amount of work you've put in, so I don't disappoint you by not getting around to your topic. How does that sound?
The new Soma synth.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's fair enough. Right, well, let's go to that. Let me just find it. That's not a problem. That is button number 6. Number 6, come in, please. This week's exciting. Last time we saw you, Super Booth, you had a kind of prototype version of the Terra, and this is now very close to production. Is that right?
Yes, really. So this is how mass production Terra will look. So
yeah, I'm going to go to the end bit. There's a lot of people commenting that this is like Terra causes male pattern baldness and affects your eyesight. So play the thing and get it.
Yeah, play not program.
We actually had a touching jam at the end. And what I have to say, right, before we go, this is the Soma Terra. We have seen this announced, but we were fortunate because we went over to, we spoke about it, we went over to Warsaw and met up with the gang and had a factory tour and had a look at this. And this is the first time the actual production unit is out. It's no longer kind of carved, hewn out of a rough slice of tree, because obviously if you did that, as soon as it heated up, the whole thing's going to warp, it'll split, and it'll just be a nightmare. Yeah. And that's fair enough. I mean, you know, so they've had to do it in proper cabinet making ways, which is you put, yeah, anyway, they've done that. So what is it about this that you find interesting, Paulie?
Sure. Firstly, it's the tactile nature of it. I think you could come at it as a musician from very, very different ways. You could come at it with existing keyboard skills, or you could come at it more from a kind of drumming kind of angle, if you get me, because it feels like a very complete kind of earthy kind of, you know, you could have like a drumming circle, but with these instead, you know, and people just like playing sort of quite interesting things. But what interested me was the algorithms in it, because I'm a bit of a fan of unique digital synthesis algorithms. I kind of chase them down, you know, either from old digital junk I buy because it's unique in some way, it does something with oscillators or something, or new stuff. And this one seems to have a hybrid of FM, additive, subtractive. And I looked at the manual, and there were two algorithms that really stood out to me. So the first one was a combination of FM with a wave folder and a high-pass filter in a feedback loop. That's got to be interesting, especially with that feedback loop.
That does sound interesting.
The second one, that sounds boring compared to the second one I found. It was... it has notes born from feedback, so it's your feedback, your kind of microphone or whatever, built into the instrument, I believe, fed through bandpass filters, accumulated in the delay lines, and it's like a mic feeding back at a show, but we've taught it to play notes. So, yeah, I'm going to be... I don't know where I'll get to demo one, probably like a synth show or something like that, but I will be.
Yeah, well, I'm getting one in a couple of weeks, apparently.
All around to yours then,
one's coming here. Yeah, all round to mine. I will say the thing that I found interesting. Vlad was also very clear. You know, he's taken a lot of inspiration from the whole kind of Egan matrix sensitivity and the modelling, and it's very similar in a way to Roland and Osmos in this sort of very tiny little movements. I mean, literally, there were minute, you know, just a tiny amount of skin touching one of those, and you're getting this. It's extremely dynamic. And then when you tap it with your finger, you get these huge timbral shifts, and it's kind of like Osmos in a way. You know, each patch is an instrument which has all sorts of areas, directions it can go with, depending on what expressivity you put into it. So, and also, just for the record, it's also got an accelerometer in it as well, which again somehow seems okay in that, but not in the Roland. I don't know why that is. I mean, it must be some. I know, Gaz. I mean, you've seen this, haven't you? You did the interview at Superbooth last year with Vlad on this, and you were raving about it, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, following on from the Osmos, I think it was the most exciting piece of new instrument that I've experienced, and so it's interesting you mentioning Egan Matrix, and that approach does feel like that's where that's like where we're really at, I think, in terms of those are the most interesting directions. For me, is that interface between human expressivity and deep electronic joy. I think
that's another title.
What makes it so nice, like when I first saw it, it just seemed so jumbled. I couldn't quite fathom what was what. And Vlad is really amazing person to talk to. I noticed if you go to the website, it says, doesn't it, Soma is romantic engineering. They call themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And once I sat behind the Soma and my hands just they just fall onto the controls, it's really intuitive, and actually playing it in some sort of
it's quite it does. I mean, it does. It's interesting. Just coming at it fresh, because I had a few goes. I found it a little more, because you've got the sensitivity of both hands. So the modifiers are generally on the left hand. So you play your notes on the right hand. You've got 12, and that can be split into groups of multi-timbrality. So there can be 3 of them would be one sound, 3 would be another sound, and another, or nice. It can be split down. And then the other ones will have the same level of sensitivity. So that level of sensitivity and control in both hands is quite challenging initially. I imagine you would get more used to it. And obviously there's no interfacing in terms of MIDI. They're not interested in that kind of stuff, and that makes sense. But what I find interesting about this is, there are multiple instruments all heading in this direction, like you say, this extremely powerful dynamic control of either analog or it's mostly software, isn't it? And that's why we need these new protocols. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
I just thought though that these are, in a way, they are laptop synths, aren't they? And I mean that, like, if you put that on your lap, and then you could, I was thinking that with the Roland when we were talking earlier, if you put it on your lap and as you play it, if you just vary your legs a little bit, it's not such a bad idea. So think of it not as a desktop synth, but an actual laptop synth. And I know that word has been used a little bit before, but I think with the Soma, if you had it on your lap and then you could use the gyroscope as well, just subtly. I mean, I'm assuming it's super sensitive.
There must be controls for it.
With it being wood, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of holding wood. I've just got a lovely new Warwick bass. Well, it's an old bass, and I love it because it's wood and you can wrap yourself around it. So this feels like that as well. It's got that woody feeling. It's
there's something about it. I think the smutty-minded amongst us will be chuckling away and trying to keep it together after that last statement. But I totally get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. It's a very interesting. There's a meme there, folks. If anyone wants to grab that, it's a very interesting
and a remix.
And a remake, it's a really interesting concept, and I think that's going. I'm looking forward to trying it out, and I think the thing that's going to be challenging for people is just getting their heads around. But the thing is, Soma are one of those companies that seem to have a license to be completely off the wall, and people love them for it. Whereas other companies, it's just like, what the hell are you doing? You're crazy. But they somehow are allowed, which is quite. It's weird psychology. I mean, I like it, but
Vlad is an artist, isn't he? And he chooses. He's a multimedia artist, and he's a dancer, creative dancer. He does all these different things, and part of his art is designing synths. And I think that people can. I don't know. You can buy into that. I mean, remember the video of the pipe when it came out, and with Vlad, and it's great. I think it's sort of what we want as well out of synths: exciting new worlds, otherworldliness. Yeah, brilliant.
Interesting. I mean, I think it depends, though, doesn't it? Because these can be. I mean, I haven't seen an awful lot of acts featuring the pipe since it was brought out. Maybe that's not important and doesn't really matter. For those who are interested, actually, Soma will be at Robin Vincent's Molten Music Tech event at Synth East on the 8th of March, the 3rd of March, which this weekend, isn't it? So you'll be able to get your hands on a Terra there. I believe they will have one. In fact, I think that's. Yeah, I think there is. And then they're going to be there's one in London on the 18th, after the weekend after us. There's the Synth Pedal show, Synth Pedal Expo, and there's going to be one there. I think that's the one I'm going to be getting. If we can get up to that, we'll try and do that. But I just want to say, but yeah, good shout. I think it's an interesting instrument. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it, but it's a bit like the Lyra. I think with the Pulsar 23, there was enough interface and familiarity with the grid, even, just it could be incorporated into modern music production techniques. This will be a little harder because you play it, you get it wrong, there's nothing recorded apart from audio. You'll have to do it again and get it right, which I don't think that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying for some people that won't suit the way they like to work. So that's okay as well, I think. Right. Okay. What's next then? I think maybe. God, there's so much stuff here. Gaz, as I let Paulie choose one, I'm going to let you choose one as well, because you may have a favourite that you want to get to as well. So, what do you think?
Well, the audio thing is really nice, isn't it? And it's super cheap.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
Really
let's do that. Okay. This is the audio thing Texture, which I think is AUV3 and iOS only. This is obviously running in Logic. I mean, it's a granular reverb, right? Whoop-de-doo. I love the interface. The thing that I really liked is when they hit the mid side button, and suddenly this thing, it just goes, ooh, I've never heard that in reverb before. This has got granular shimmer type stuff. Let's see where they do. Yeah, here we go. That's the one. It's like, wow, what's going on there? It's like you're still getting the reverb, but it's not crowding the mix. It's just throwing it out there. So you're getting the sense of space without it filling the center of the image. And I thought that was it seems like a very simple thing, but also very unique. Gaz, I mean, you could run this under OHM on the iPad. You could run it I guess on Logic. I mean, PC users and everybody else, sorry, but that's the thing. What is it? It's like, I can't even remember how much it was. I don't think I even wrote it down.
I think it's on special €9 or something. It's
I think, do we have it here? Let's have a look. Audio thing, texture, granular reverb. Let's see.
It's on special offer, I think.
On special offer, let me see. Gosh, I'm sorry. I should have checked this out. But this is on Tom's excellent blog, Synth Anatomy. Yeah, but it's cheap, isn't it? It's not expensive.
Yeah. What was really appealing to me, though, in a way, was just seeing an interface that you've got just literally a few controls, and it's just. My poor brain can't take any more with complex things. It's just like, oh, that's really nice, really, really simple.
Yeah, more of the nice stuff, less of the horrid stuff. But
yeah. But I think as well, granular is just at the moment it's been a long moment for me, but I just find it the most pleasing thing. I've just taken the plunge on getting the microcosm from hologram, which is a granular pedal. Well, it does a lot of things, but around sort of granular ideas. I've had it a few days and it's blowing my mind. So it just feels that sort of granularization still has a lot to offer, I think. It's like the lemon drop has proved to be really popular, hasn't it? The 1010 one, the one that you reviewed, Nick.
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I wonder. I mean, this is a thing I would probably go to Paulie about, because I think maybe what's what's going on here is that I thought I could post this, but I've broken something. Never mind. The microcosm picture.
Sure.
I think the reason wavetable synthesis became so popular again is because modern code and modern technology allowed for much more finer control of the interpolation between the wave samples. So we got these beautiful transitions, and I'm guessing we're seeing the same benefits in terms of granular for be able to crossfade between the grains, and they sound more beautiful and less kind of glitchy and less digital. Would you say that was a fair assumption?
It's definitely a fair assumption, because I've got one of the first ever granular algorithms, which is on one of the old Wave Boy Ensoniq sampler discs, where he created weird effects for the Ensoniq samplers, and it's quite clicky. So those early attempts at granular synthesis, real-time granular synthesis, were quite crude in a sense, because you need quite a lot of CPU grunt to make a decent density of grains. So, but I think that the main thing that's happening now is that the UI is accessible to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because there's nice displays now on some of the instruments where you can actually, choose your chunk of sample to sweep through. But this particular plugin is something that would take me quite a big effects chain to do. Basically, I was going through my head what I'd do to make that sound, and if I took something like Guitar Rig, which I use for effects chains sometimes, I'd need some kind of pitched grain delay and a reverb and blah blah blah, and that sideband stuff probably needs some kind of stereo separation, and to have it all there just in one simple interface is quite appealing.
Yeah.
So could be something I get from my iPad.
Yeah, good call. I remember I made a shimmer reverb out of the effects blocks in my XR18, which was a chorus, a pitch shift, and a reverb, and then you just kind of set the sends so that they go back into each other, and you control the amount of feedback, and you could EQ it. And it did take basically 3 of the 4 effects inserts to make the the shimmer, because they didn't have one. They might do now. I don't know what the upgrade, whether there's been any more effects algorithm upgrades for the XR series, but maybe they did. But nice. This is a nice thing, audio thing, and I think it's is it Tom Whitwell who does audio thing, or is it the audio things the thing that the company that Heimbach has been collaborating with, isn't it? They do all the code stuff for him. Yeah, so a good company, good eggs all round, well worth checking out. Okay, time for a mention from our friends over at Baby Audio. Baby Audio makes creative effects plugins designed to add colour and depth to your mixes. They won Plugin of the Year 2021 in Future Music and Computer Music Magazine, and were nominated for the SOS Awards 2 years in a row. Why not check out Smooth Operator, a resonance suppression, equalisation and compression plugin that automatically eliminates resonances and muddiness, allows you to shape your track's tonal response while the plugin automatically eliminates resonances in the background. Get 15% off when checking out with the code ST15. And once again, we thank Baby Audio for their continued support of the podcast. It's much appreciated and helps us keep going and doing things like EMOMs and all of the other stuff that we do, as do our Patreons. Thank you very much to everybody who supports us either through ads or through Patreon or through just watching and saying nice things. The rest of you who say nasty things, you can all go and sit in the corner. Right, next, let's see what have we got. I think we probably have to do the Halion 7, because Halion 7 is becoming a really interesting thing now. Let's press that one. I think we have it. There we go. This is Halion 7, Steinberg's. It's sort of turning. New FM zone it's got now, but it's also got zones for synthesis, wavetable, sample, organ, spectral, synth, and granular gas, which I'm sure you'll be happy with hearing. It's still, it sounds like it's expensive, but I was looking at it compared to I was looking at it compared to Falcon, which is the closest I can get to it, really, because Falcon is a very similar thing. It's like an all-encompassing software workstation, which Halion didn't start out that way, but it's become that. It's about €300, 299 UK pounds, something like that. But the thing that's different about it, this is obviously via Steinberg, I'm guessing a lot of this FM stuff's come through there because they're owned by the mothership Yamaha, so they've got access to that stuff. But I'm imagining the other thing that's really important about this is Halion allows you to create player objects. So you can create a whole thing, instrument, sample pack, whatever. You can bundle it up and give it to people or sell it to people without having to pay, like you do with Contact, for instance. If you want to make something for Contact Player, this may have changed, but it used to be the case. You have to send it off, has to be certified and sorted out by Native Instruments. They charge you a license fee for using you don't have to do this with Halion, and this is something that I think is really important now, because obviously this will work on Mac and PC. I don't know whether it's AU V3. Gaz, we've looked at Halion. At Steinberg we want to have a look at it again. We may well do, but it's a very powerful system, right?
It is, and one of the things the new update brings is a big interface overhaul, which really
bigger text.
I think it's scalable, and also it just has a much more up to date look altogether. I think the thing about Halion is it had grown, as you say, it had grown from being essentially like Contact, very similar kind of format to Contact, into this bigger platform, but it was really still constrained a little bit to its by its visual, and the interface was holding it back, shall we say. So I think that's one of the real biggies with this one. And it is quite overwhelming with what you already got. So having all this extra stuff, I think, is really interesting. Now, Spectra Layers has been a piece of software that Steinberg has been selling, and you get like a cut down version of it with Cubase. It looks to me like the spectral aspect there that we saw in maybe sort of integrating some of that Spectra Layers.
I think I did a review of the spectral thing with for it was mostly designed for drums and transients, wasn't it, originally? Is that right? The spectral thing that
it was Spectra Layers. Its closest sort of thing really would be RX from iZotope, right? In terms of being able to edit on a spectrogram and being able to do all sorts of stuff, really excellent for extracting vocals out of mixes and aspects like that. In fact, that's what you can do with Cubase. You can just do this. I mean, lots of things seem to happen to have that. Incidentally, have you seen on Apple Music now, if you go into the lyric view, there's a little microphone icon and you can take out vocals out of most songs. Wow. And so all that is all built in real time. And, like if you look at lyrics, I think it has to be the lyrics, they light up like karaoke.
Going hard for the karaoke market, are they? Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got that little control. So it's just interesting seeing how this cutting edge technology has kind of found its way into such a mainstream position. Anyway, I digress. I think having Spectra Layers kind of stuff that you can do, I'm making assumptions here, but will be really interesting from a sample point of view, because now iZotope have discontinued Iris, which I think is a real shame. Maybe this will be something for people who are interested in that sort of thing, isolating harmonics from spectral things and using them as oscillators.
Yeah, maybe so, and then selling them back to us in players, which that's the interesting thing. I think I would like to check that to see if that's still the case, but maybe we'll have a chance to have a look at it. But like you say, the previous interface, there were lots of these little tiny drop-down menus that had like the smallest font you could possibly get away with on a computer screen, and now that most of us have got whatever they're retinal displays, that is really something really, really small. So it can be a bit fiddly, but it's well worth checking out now, I think, this, and because of the player thing. And I still think we should if I was an astute business person, I would be banging out loads of Sonicstate sample packs and synth packs via things like this that people could buy, but I'm not. So maybe someone out there is, and that's what you should be doing. Anyway, I just thought it was worth throwing.
Can I just jump in?
You want to add something?
before you go, Can Voodoo's just said in the chat room that Cubase is 40% off today. So that's quite big, because obviously,
if you just fancy cavalierly jumping DAWs in the middle of a week, why not? Why the hell not? Impulse buy.
It is a biggie. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. What do you think? What do you think, Paulie?
I'm still waiting for Nick's PWM sample pack with all of the different PWMs from all of the synths. And maybe kind of a stacked mode where there's like 60 oscillators of PWM or something.
I could call it all the PWM.
All the PWM belong to Nick.
Yeah.
Anyway, I looked up a bit of algorithm porn on this. There's another title. There's some really unique stuff. So the FM side has 8 operators. Not your measly 6 from the DX7, and you can load in the FMX engines and performances from the Montage and MoDX.
Wow!
So I was like, wow, because some of those are so impressive. You know, whenever I don't have a Montage or a MoDX, but ever I listen to that guy, is it Blake Angelos? Is that his name? The Yamaha guy?
Yeah, Blake. Yeah.
He just totally plays these amazing sounds. So it's great to have that in software. And I'm kind of excited about the Spectral Zone because it's got a spectral oscillator with time stretch and resynthesis. And I was reading through it. I was like, this sounds familiar because it's got you can transform your samples with formant shift, a spectral filter, purity, which kind of sounds a bit sidebandy, and inharmonicity. And I was like, they've basically made they've basically made a plugin of the Roland V-Synth. That's basically what they've done. So I watched a demo. And I was like, oh my goodness, this sounds so much like when I put like a sample in my Roland V-Synth. So there we go.
That's an interesting
I think it's incredible just to chuck these amazing synth features on what is essentially started out as a bit of a sample playback plugin.
Maybe we should bring you in if we're going to look at Halion. Maybe we should ask you to look at the a couple of the modules for us as part of that. That would be really good. Late entry in the my PW instead of all PWM, it could be Ken Lewis is saying PWM-gasm. Yeah, could work. And if it was spelled GAZM, we could involve you somehow in it as well, guys.
I don't know. It's getting a bit seedy there.
It is, isn't
I think you're right.
Don't lend your name to it, Gaz. Don't let him force you into it.
Oh, go on. Yeah, you do it. I'll do the graphics. Yeah. Anyway,
it'd just be your face going ooh. It'd be your face going ooh on the cover.
Yeah, there are a number of memes of me with that face actually when I'm doing that kind of thing from the thousands of Sonic Labs and for those of you who haven't checked out synth memes, yeah, exactly. I was getting a bit of that from the third wave thing. I mean, honestly, the low end out of that is insane. I haven't heard anything like that for a long, and I don't know I think it's got the third wave has got analog filters, and whatever they're doing topography wise to get the signal into there, it's got a really yummy kind of really gloopy low end. It sounds really nice actually. Anyway, more on that to come. We'll have to check that one out. Okay, right. Oh gosh, we're getting there. I'm going to save the 4-track studio because Chicky brought that up and he was really interested in that. So I think maybe he can come back and join us. I'm not sure, he might be leaving the country soon, so we'll have to see. But what's the other one? I mean, we should really, just because it's such a big deal in the world of performing. Nord Stage 4, this has just come out. I mean, Nord still have pretty much all of the stage keyboard stuff you ever see live on TV. God, this is cheese. But yeah, Nord Stage 4, obviously, essentially a performance keyboard, but with synth engine. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. The thing that's really nice about it as well is people swear by the keybed. It's got a thing. They've redesigned the keybed. It's now got triple sensor hammer action keybed with aftertouch. So that's new. Is it still the king of the category, I suppose? We're trying to find out.
I like this music.
Okay, that's fine. You go first then. I want 100 words on why this music is good by the end of the Carry on.
But yeah, I mean, all of the professional bands that I pretty much do play in and have done for years is Nord all the time, and the stage and the electro mainly. So the new stage, very significant. I think what Nord have proved over years is that their keyboards are very much gig worthy, and will. Their gig bags, however, are absolutely terrible. So unfortunately, there's everyone I know who's had a gig bag, they just terrible, fall to bits. But the synths themselves, thankfully, do not. The sound of them, it's almost, they're just so omnipresent in my world. I don't mean to be rude. I just find it hard to get that excited by, because I just know it's going to be excellent, and they know what they're going for as well, and they've got these established lines, and this is going to just be. It's going to be super successful, and I don't know, really great. I mean, brilliant. What's the new stuff on this one? It's got the
it's got more synth. It's got more synth engines, hasn't it? It's got I think it's got 4 synth engines plus the organ part plus the piano part. I'm not sure of that. And also they're still using their compressed sample thing, so you could pile loads of stuff. They are, however, and continue to be, really kind of quite wincy in terms of price. The 88 will cost you £4,500.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that sounds like a lot of money, but I suppose for an instrument of quality and lots of,
it's professional instrument,
Yeah.
They're professional instruments.
Okay.
And, good.
I don't know. You're a player though, Paulie. What have you played any of the stage stuff or any of the Nord things? What do you think of the action?
The only Nord I have is a delightful little Nord G1 just here, which I absolutely adore. It's from like 1997 or so, and it's a Nord modular thing that I edit using an old Windows laptop, and it's a great fun because everything runs at 96 kilohertz, so you can modulate anything with anything. But this one interested me because they've basically put a Nord Wave 2 in there. So aside from the piano and the organ stuff, which is great for your bread and butter, band situation, the oscillator types, they've got analog, some digital waves, they've got FM, and things like little waveform options like shapers on the sign, super waveform sync, bell waves, and they've also got ring mod in there, which it's kind of like my version of your PWM, Nick. I like anything with ring mod on it.
Right.
So there's 3 oscillators. So there's some definite
there's depth, isn't there?
There's depth, and I think, it'll do quite a lot of bands good. Maybe the record company buys the keyboard player this because they think that's what everyone uses. That keyboard player will get access to some quite unusual sounds. Basically, which is good. I'd still buy something like if I was going to do like, big gigs or something, I'd buy like a big Korg Kronos 88 probably, or something like that, right. Or a Montage or something like that.
I suppose the thing, because some of the big workstations. Well, and also you can play back stems. You can kind of trigger.
Yes.
There's in terms of your MD scenario, or I'm a keyboard player. What do you want me to do? Hire me for the session or to play live. Yeah, we need you to play some backing vocals or whatever it may be. That that I guess the Nord won't do that. I suppose not to the same degree anyway.
They've steadfastly stuck with that color scheme as well, which has really worked in their favour, hasn't it? just they've
I'd like to
always
see
got
a custard yellow one. I think that would be quite interesting.
Listen, Robbie Moore, who plays in the Charlotte Church Pop Dungeon, he's painted his Nord black because he didn't like the colour, and so I've never seen anyone else with it. And it's all painted, all the black paint is all flaked off now, so it's all got like little red wounds all over it. It looks great.
Oh wow, that sounds
Relic.
That sounds brilliant.
Relic
Nord.
Relic
Wow,
synths,
yeah,
is that going to be a thing?
Well, isn't it actually? Is it Hagstrom? Is that the Scandinavian guitar company that they specialised in really beautifully beaten up tellies and Stratocasters? That guy who basically plays in every single Scandinavian band that's ever on Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
He always plays one of those, and he's that guy, impossibly good looking, fantastic guitarist, and he plays those, and his guitars look so yeah, you could get Hagstrom to relic your Nord stage. That would be there's a custom option. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, look, I'm sorry we're not going to get time to do any questions this week. We haven't had a lot in. I'm assuming this has worked in, but just purely because I have to shoot off and I've got to get this uploaded before because I'm not going to be back in Bath till tomorrow night. But are you streaming tonight, Gaz? Have you got anything on the go, or what's happening in live channel? It's not a challenge to say you have to, but if you are, you can let us know.
Well, yeah. Shall I? I didn't plan on. No, I'm not going to. Because I'm in rehearsal mode at the moment, so I'm going to keep in that zone. I'm playing actually on Saturday as part of Synth East, so I don't know.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody's aware of that. But I know the daytime tickets are sold out, but I think there might be some tickets left for the evening performances. Finley Shakespeare is going to be performing. This is Robin Vincent's event in Norwich Arts Centre. It's going to be on Saturday.
It's going to be great.
I really look forward to it. So I'm going to be taking part in the Patch Challenge in the daytime, and that's going to be fun. What's happening there's 6 of us, and we're going to draw our names out of the hat, and we're going to then perform with that person who we're drawn against. So that's going to be quite curious. I mean, if I get drawn against Steve Davis, that'll be cool because I play with Steve a lot, but Sam Battle, look, Mum No Computer is going to be taking part in that as well.
Well, no, all of his stuff's non-standard, though. How are you going to interface with it? It's going to have all this converters.
Well, I hope I get drawn with him. I'd love that. But yeah, so that's going to be happening through the daytime. Lots of exhibitors are going to be there as well, so I'll be keeping an eye out for what's going on. And then in the night, it's a bit more of a traditional concert, I suppose. So I think there are tickets for that. But it'd be nice to come and say hello if any of you make it. It'd be great. So that's this Saturday.
Yeah, we were gonna try. I don't know if we'll be able to do this, but we're going to try and do a little bit of a kind of live hookup with you, show us round. If you get time, I'll ping you in the morning and see how that goes because I don't know how my weekend is going to be yet. It's certainly not going to be tidying up after my daughter because she's gone, so that's not going to be an issue. But yeah, okay. Well, I'll ping you about that and we'll see how that goes. But yes, good shout out. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you.
And Paulie, how about yourself?
Yes.
What's next for you? Have you finished your film yet?
Not finished it yet. We're doing a rough cut of episode 2 now, which is going to be all about pinball, so that's going to be fun. Before I go, I just wanted to say it's been great being on the show with you guys because I've considered you a genius ever since you loaded samples of the Treorchy male voice choir into a Novation circuit, and I was like, that guy is wild. Who does that? So it's been a fan for quite some time, so it was great.
Yay.
Great being on.
Oh, lovely. Excellent. Big Digitact update, isn't it? That's just dropped just this afternoon.
Just come out. Just dropped out.
So worth mentioning
again, and that's definitely worth mentioning. Was it version 1.5 or I got the email literally just before I came on? Anything specific?
Yes. So, I mean, the Digitact, a fantastic unit. The one thing that I felt with it was if only it had time stretching, and now it has. They're bringing the engines idea into it.
Do 2 new engines, yes.
Four. Well, yeah. So you can choose 4 engines. You've got like a repitch engine for the way it handles samples. A kind of time stretch one, and then what's the other two? I can't remember. I think one is just a one shot, and then but
nice.
The thing about the Digitact is that it just manages just to do everything it does so well and so fluid. It's become, I think, an absolute modern classic. And this update now is just what it needed. So well done, Electron.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be good. Oh, and if you're interested in drum machines and you want to check out the Korg drum log, which is not a modern classic, as in the same way, I would say, but see what I thought about it. That's a review I posted earlier this week, I believe. Was it earlier this week? I can't even remember. The time's kind of stretched itself. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. What's the button I press? I can't. Oh, yeah, there. It's that one, isn't it? Thanks ever so much for joining us. That was Sonic Talk 748. Hopefully, we'll see you all next time. Don't forget, check out a live stream next Saturday as well. Gaz will be playing. And cheers, Paulie. Cheers, Gaz. See you all next time.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.